Hello YouTube, it is me Paige here once again with another video, and in this video we're going to be going through Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and 10 characters who could possibly be showing up in the sequel. So Guardians of the Galaxy was a movie which I think a lot of us, like superhero fans, stuff like that, were predicting to be really good, but then the general public, it wasn't like an Avengers or even just like a Batman or Superman movie. It wasn't seen like it was going to be good, and it really surprised a lot of people. So with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, I'm hoping for the exact same. So let's go through 10 characters or 10 members who could be joining the sequel. First up we have Bug, and Bug, it might be a difficult character to do, but you got to remember that Guardians of the Galaxy 1 made Rocket Raccoon and Groot massive characters and like fan favorites. So if they can make a raccoon and a tree really popular, there's no doubt that they can make this Bug a very popular character as well. Now it's actually pretty interesting because the director of Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and who is directing the sequel as well, James Gunn, actually revealed in an interview that Bug actually appeared in a draft of the script before, like it was like, you know, all the certain members are trimmed off. While that could have the meaning that maybe it was intended that he's not going to work in the film, it could also just mean that maybe they were saving him for the sequel to, you know, add some more members. So let's hope that we see him in the sequel. Up next we have Philavelle, and Philavelle is like one of those other, I'm pretty sure she's powered by the Kree. I think, yeah, I know I'm right there. She's powered by the Kree, and a lot of people are saying that the next person that's going to be introduced that has some ties with the Kree is going to be Carol Danvers. Now, aka Captain Marvel. Now, I'm not too sure if they would do this, but I think just due to the fact that Philavelle has strong ties to the Guardian, and actually in the comics has a pretty, like, you know, fulfilled history in regards to connections, I reckon there's a chance that she could turn up. Now, if you don't know who Philavelle is, Philavelle is actually the daughter of Captain Marvel and also the brother of the successor Genosville. Now, if she did appear, there would have to be some history, like a history lesson in the movie, so I don't know if they would do it just due to the fact that they'd have to introduce Captain Marvel, but we'll have to wait and see what they do, but really it'd be pretty cool if we saw her. Up next we have Angela, and Angela actually has a pretty, like, actually not in the comic books, but I mean just in literally legal disputes, and there's a massive legal dispute in regards just to her rights to her character, because she actually was created in the Spawn comic series. So, and then the writer and the creator wanted to move her to Marvel and let Marvel have the rights, but there's a massive law dispute. But then once all that was sorted out, she appeared in I think the most recent Guardians of the Galaxy story arc, or the series, might I say. But even despite that whole legal dispute history and stuff, she's actually become like a main player in the Guardians of the Galaxy. And she's actually usually pairing up with Gamora, which is pretty interesting as well, which I think could play off screen really, really well. And I think it'd be pretty easy if they did add her to the series, just due to the fact that she's another woman, and if you had her and Gamora fighting together, it'd be like girl power, and obviously that's sometimes what the film studios want to go for. Up next we have Major Victory, and actually Major Victory is actually a version of Justice, which is pretty interesting because if they put him in the movie, they'd have to like explain the whole different timelines and stuff like that, but I think it could work out just due to the fact that he's been a member of the Guardians of the Galaxy as well as the Star-Lord version, might I say. And an interesting thing is that he actually carries Captain America's shield, which at the time of Guardians of the Galaxy is actually an ancient artifact. And that could actually lead to some pretty interesting things in regards to like Infinity War, when the Guardians of the Galaxy and the Avengers would most likely interconnect, which would be pretty interesting. Both of them carrying the shield, a bit of an awkward exchange, and be like, why are you carrying that? And like, it might be pretty interesting to see on screen. Next up we have Mantis. Now Mantis is actually a very powerful telepath, and also a former member of both the Avengers and the Guardians of the Galaxy. Now her comic book history is actually very complicated because of cosmic time travel issues, but I think that could actually play to her advantage in regards to actually sealing a spot in the Guardians of the Galaxy sequel. She actually is pretty interesting because she also has ties to the Kree and also to Kang the Conqueror, who is meant to be a candidate to actually be the villain in the Guardians of the Galaxy sequel. Now this one is a big, just throwing a stone to a river and hoping for massive ripples, but really, if this happened, this would be insane. But the next candidate is actually Tony Stark. Now I've put Tony Stark in here just due to the fact that there's no Iron Man movie that's actually coming out, well, it's been named, so really Robert Downey Jr.'s schedule and Iron Man's schedule in general is a bit blank. We know he's appearing in Civil War, but what do we know after that? Now, if you have read the Guardians of the Galaxy comics, I have not read all of them, or at least this run, but you may know if you've read them. But Tony Stark actually becomes a member of the Guardians of the Galaxy when he leaves Earth for a bit, just to, just get away from some issues in his life. But this could possibly be the same thing that happens in the movies. Maybe after Civil War, stuff doesn't go his way, obviously. Maybe he wants to leave Earth, just go for a bit of a cruise in outer space. And this could actually be a catalyst as to why the Guardians of the Galaxy and just the superheroes on Earth, the Avengers and different stuff like that, could merge together and actually take down Thanos later on in the cinematic timeline. Next up, we have one of the most likely candidates, and that's actually Adam Warlock. Now, he has been called out as one of the most likely additions to be cast by not only the production crew and stuff, well, not the production crew, but certain people associated with that, but also just fans of Guardians of the Galaxy. And this could be interesting, seeing that he actually, well, traditionally in the comics, he possessed one of the Infinity Stones and has actually been an arch enemy of Thanos throughout history. Now, I think it's predicted that he'll inevitably appear in the MCU, but really it matters whether it's going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, or it could be even in the Infinity War in regards to putting the Infinity Gauntlet together. But I think this would be, maybe not the main part, but definitely introduced throughout Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I think they have to, I think if they introduced him in Infinity War Part 1, I think it just might be a bit too sudden. So I think introducing the character slowly and then there he is in Infinity War would make much more sense. Next up, we have Moondragon. Now, Moondragon is actually an interesting character because she is actually another human whose family is actually killed by Thanos. So, bit of a Drax, bit of a Star-Lord crossover thing going on, I guess you could say. And when you actually mention Drax the Destroyer, you got to remember, hey, it's pretty interesting. A bit of a spoiler alert here, but she actually discovers that even though her father was killed, he's actually been resurrected, becoming none other than Drax the Destroyer. This might be the only difficulty with this is that it's already been established in the film that Drax actually had a family who we know that was killed by Ronan during that whole, and we had that massive story arc about Drax wanting to get revenge and stuff like that. And we also know that Thanos has a strong, a hobby of taking orphan girls under his wing and training them to be these fighting machines. So if they introduce Moondragon, it wouldn't be as dramatic, and it'd make her role a bit redundant because there's all these other ones. But I guess they could still form up these ties on the cinematic universe to actually make sense that Moondragon could appear and actually be a worthwhile character. Now, this one I think is an obvious one, and if they don't put him in, this would be unbelievably disappointing, just due to the fact that they've hinted at him so much. He was in, actually I just mentioned him now, Nova in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I think it's got to happen, just due to the fact that in the movie art book for Guardians of the Galaxy, Nova's just there, and also there's a presence in the movie of the version of Xandar and also of the Nova Corps, so I think it makes sense that he's going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. If not, he should have been in Guardians of the Galaxy Part 1. Why wasn't he there? Now, I'm not saying he might be joining as a member. I think he just might be in the movie somehow, but it'd be pretty interesting if we saw him there. Now, my prediction for Nova is that he will actually appear in the Guardians of the Galaxy sequel, similar maybe to the Adam Warlock character. He won't be joining as a member. It might be a small part, maybe not a cameo, but definitely a part where he's just introduced as a character. But I think he won't become a main part of the storyline until Thanos is hell-bent on destroying the universe. So I think that's when Nova will definitely come into play. So I wouldn't be expecting him to be a major part, but definitely to appear in the sequel. And the last one, and I think if you were really excited to watch this countdown, then I think you know what it's going to be. Carol Danvers. Yes, Carol Danvers to appear in the Guardians of the Galaxy sequel. Now Captain Marvel's obviously getting her own solo movie, but I think it's going to be similar to what they do with Black Panther, and they're not going to do it with Doctor Strange. At least we don't think they're going to do it with Doctor Strange, make him appear in a movie before. But with Black Panther, obviously, he's got that role in Civil War. So I think what they're going to do with Captain Marvel is actually give her that role in a team film before they give her a solo movie, just because I think they want to introduce the character before they randomly just spring a solo movie on, because she's a female character. She'll get the female support, but they also just need the some form of introduction to the character. So they might tell her a bit of her origin story in that movie, or they might just introduce the modern day character, and then in the movie they might do like the origin story and stuff like that. But I'm excited for just the Captain Marvel movie because I think it's going to be very interesting to watch. But I'm also happy to know, in my head I'm thinking it's got to happen, that she's got to be in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And obviously Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 comes out in May of 2017. And then Captain Marvel comes out a year later, like roughly a year, like July 2018. That's like a rough estimated date for it to come out. So it makes sense if they do this, and I think it's got to happen. Please leave your opinions in the comment section below. What do you think is going to happen? Are you happy with these 10 characters I've picked to appear in the sequel? I think they're pretty good. There might be one or two that some of you might disagree on, but definitely leave them in the comment section below. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe if you're new. Check out any of my recent videos I've uploaded. And I will catch you later. Goodbye.